Put your hands up in the air. 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 Put your hands up.
Show some energy. Come on, it's arena time. Now we have 9 amazing companies for you. They all have less than $100,000 of outside funding. So that you think you can't do a lot with $100,000, but with these 9, they've already done amazing things. So we're going to bring them up one by one for a 5-minute pitch, and that pitch is going to be judged by an all-star panel of judges. We have Dmitry Ledev from Digital Media Partners. We have Seimin An from Rock10 Ventures. We have Shinichi Takemiya from Globus Capital Partners. And we have Kevin Hale from Y Combinator. They're going to be judging. We're going to be hearing some of their comments later. But now let's turn it right over to the startups. And your first startup is going to be Parking Duck. Come on up. Your time starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paroy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder at Parking Duck, Asia's Airbnb for parking spaces. Parking is simple, right? You just drive from point A to point B and park. Except everybody's doing the same thing at the same time and at the same place. Take Bangkok for an example, where there are 5 million cars that drives in and out of the city every day to only 400,000 parking spaces. There is not enough parking for anyone. But people's gotta work, you know, people's gotta go eat, go shopping, whatever. Where do they park now? A problem only apparent in developing countries is that people double park. They park on the street, on the roads where they're not supposed to, park in front of other people's businesses, in front of other people's homes, to the extent in handicap parking. An estimated 1 million drivers do not have a place to park. But what if we could park at the building next door? What if we could park at the condo, the apartments, the homes? Maybe you could park a bit further away, take the mass transit to work, and avoid traffic in general. But is it weird, you know, to be parking at someone else's house? Actually not. People are already doing this, but through irrelevant and unsecured channels like web boards and forums. With no further ado, let me introduce you to Parking Duck, Asia's Airbnb for parking spaces, where we look to make hosts and drivers happy. Let's say you're a host. You want to list your parking. What do? You log in. The website's simple, 2 features. You either rent or find. When you're going to rent it out, you just fill in the title, the address, pinpoint where it is on Google Maps, set the price. We even provide the listing tips. And when you're done, just click New Listing. Here's your parking profile. As a driver, when you're booking a parking space, you have to input in your license plate, driver's license, upload all that document before you can even book. It's very visual and transparent to both sides. The pricing is clear, so you know what you're getting for the value you're paying. And this is the marketplace. You compare the price, look at the listings, look at the host, the owners. You can talk to them before. And yeah, you find a place where you need to park. We recently launched in December, so it's less than 6 months that the website has been live. Currently, it's free to list, free to transact. We have over 450 drivers registered and over 179 hosts. We have about 300 parking spaces. Why there's more than hosts? Some hosts list more than 2 parking, some hosts list a garage. And at one point, we started to count the bookings submitted. Within 1 month, we got 29 bookings at over 106 months and a value of over 200,000 baht. As anyone could agree, parking is a pain. A big pain is a big market. Based on the number of cars in Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia, the TAM is estimated to be 7.6, where the SAM is the available housing, which is 1.4 billion, where by 2020, we look to take 40% of that. Our business model is simple. We take a 10% commission for every successful transactions, where we look to add 6% before we charge the driver and deduct 4% before we transfer it to the host. We come with a full team. I'm Paroy, as introduced earlier. I was a consultant at IBM before, and then I actually made a marketplace for them as well. Dunk here is our COO, who's going to be looking at the process, and Ramit is our business development head with partnerships Jip is our great programmer, coder, experienced coder, and Pop is our UI UX designer. And that is what we have for Parking Duck, Asia's Airbnb for parking spaces.
Thank you very much. And now we'll turn things over to the judges. Judges, one note, when I announced your names earlier, there was a bit of smoke, so I don't know if everyone saw your faces. So before you ask a question, could you please just identify who you are and your company? Thank you.
Oh, me? Okay. So I'm Paroi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Parking Duck.
Dimitri here, Digital Media Partners. How do you actually determine the rightful owner of the parking space?
Okay.
Garage is clear, but what if it's an informal parking facility? Can anyone claim any facility where a car could be parked?
So we actually do not allow, we prohibit, and we actually ban if people do it when they list public or shared parking spaces. Usually condo owners or apartment owners, they come with a right to their parking spaces, and they can rent that out if they're not using it.
Any plans to expand to the informal space or the not clearly owned space?
Right now, we don't have plans to expand.
So secondary to actually what Dimitri asked is, what if I'm renting a condo and it's essentially a form of subletting, right?
Correct.
The actual space that I've actually pertained. How does that work out?
So let's say when you own a space, you have access to a key card or a sticker, and through the platform you can arrange a contact with the driver, and you just give them.
No, what I'm saying is that the owner of the apartment might not allow this, right?
The
Because
juristic person?
The owner of the apartment and you're the renter, right?
Okay.
Normally renters they're not allowed to sub-rent their rented apartment, right? And the parking space is a part of their rented apartment, right?
Correct.
So what have you worked that out with logistics in terms of, for example, Singapore is a huge market for parking potentially, right? Where there's a huge renting market.
Mm-hmm. So basically, we actually talk to juristic person or the owner or the people managing the building. They're actually happy to have us. Why? Because what's happening nowadays in Bangkok is that the owner of the unit gives it to the juristic to rent it out for them. So to them, we're like actually a sales channel where they could list on us and just sell it, take their cut.
Do you have like an insurance plan to be implemented on top of your overall service program? So for example, what if a person rents out a parking space maliciously to gain access to the apartment? What if the actual the renter of the parking space had very bad intentions, especially in places like Indonesia where you were still under terrorist threats and whatnot, intermittently in relation to bomb threats and whatnot, right? Have you worked out that logistics?
Since we just launched, we don't have any insurance yet, but we have plans to do that post-funding. But the platform itself is safe that you verify yourself to Facebook, email, phone number, driver's license. There's a certain verification level as well as communication before you can park.
So you guys have 450 registered drivers.
Correct.
And then you've had 106 requests from those drivers for booking spaces. Is that correct?
29 bookings, correct.
29 bookings have actually gone through, but you had written down that you had 100 actual requests. Is that
106 months of requests. Like one booking can be 6 months, 12 months.
I gotcha. Okay. So how come there are not spaces for the other like 420 people who are registered? Do they all really want driving spaces, or are they just checking it out?
So the problem that we're having right now is scaling supply slower than the demand. There's a lot of demand, but supply is growing slower than we expected.
So how are you currently working on getting supply?
So for the parking spaces, we're talking to real estate agents who have available spaces, juristic person of the condo. We're talking to private and commercial garages. We're even talking to parking suppliers. And just last Tuesday, we're actually talking with Airbnb.
Hi, I'm Shim from Globus Capital. I really like your idea about addressing the problem of the parking spaces in the cities. And can you elaborate a little bit on how you intend to integrate the whole parking experience? Like, you currently focus on the problem of finding, but probably, the whole user experience has a longer chain of like navigating to the parking space and then making the payment, or, maybe kind of coming up with some kind of frequently user program or something?
So currently it's only for monthly parking spaces. And the limitation of that is that you have to book in advance and you have to talk to the host first. But we do have plans to do an on-demand parking app, which is we already want a clientele back in Bangkok, and we're developing that as well to supply to people who need parking on a daily and hourly basis.
So you're thinking that is on-demand booking is more of the key problem, or the monthly part is the main part?
Can you speak louder? Sorry.
Sorry. So are you thinking that the monthly part is the bigger market, or the on-demand part is the bigger?
The demand for on-demand is actually bigger, but the monthly is more scalable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, judges.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Parking Duck. Now it's time for our second company. Please give a warm welcome to Itigo. Your time starts now.
Welcome to the Itigo pitch. My name is Michael, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Itigo, the #1 discounted restaurant reservation platform in Thailand and Singapore. In a nutshell, what we do is we connect empty tables with empty stomachs, and we do this via time-based discounts. These discounts change every 30 minutes, and they apply to each and every one of our over 300 merchants. The problem that we address is capacity utilization. If you look at global data here, you can see that restaurants do not manage to hit the same numbers as related industries like airlines and hotels. The reason for that is that restaurants generally do not employ armies of analysts who write complicated algorithms to tell them when to charge how much for their inventories. This creates an opportunity that we believe is truly global in scope to fill empty capacities at restaurants. But if you look at the restaurant day, it's a 2-peak day. If you want to monetize these empty capacities, they're in off-peak, and you need the capability of shaping the traffic and shifting user behavior to come at the time when the merchant actually has these capacities. The user journey in Itigo is similar to a restaurant reservation platform. You come on the site, on the web, and the app, you check out, you find a place you like, you book, you go, you eat, and you pay. There is no upfront cost, there is no coupons, there is no credit card information. The big difference is that with Itigo, you never pay full price. On Itigo, every restaurant is discounted every day, the whole day. Every restaurant offers 50% discount slots on all food items on the menu every single day, creating inventories that are truly unique globally. UI and UX-wise, Itigo again is similar to a restaurant reservation platform. We are very mobile first as a platform. We also have a merchant app where merchants can run basic queries, analytics, and declare no-shows. In the end, Itigo's success depends on whether we can change human behavior, make people come when the restaurant wants them to come, and we believe we can do this. Take a look at some data from one of our merchants at the Bangkok Intercontinental Hotel, and you can see that we send 84% of our diners in off-peak. This effectively makes us the anti-Groupon, or the anti-open table, if you will, because these platforms send 90%, 80% of their traffic in peak hour, while Itigo sends 80 to 90% of its traffic in off-peak hour. We monetize via taking a charge per diner that we send to the merchants. This is a very simple model, but it's also a very robust model because we're a sophisticated service for the merchant, and we charge a premium that the merchant is happy to pay. We actually, in fact, take 2 times the fee for a booking in Bangkok than Open Table takes in the US. There's a lot of future potential also by adding additional revenue streams. The most important one being adding restaurants that do not currently take reservations into the Eatigo model, enabling us to really cover the whole market, literally from McDonald's to Michelin star. Taking a look at traction data, you can see our growth is starting to approach the hockey stick, right? I mean, we have been doubling our monthly reservations for 3 months running. Conversion ratio of our apps is nearing 10%, and the payback for our new acquired customers has dropped to below 6 months. So the sausage factory is coming together and looking quite healthy. How is Eatigo different? Well, for the end user, it's quite clear. We combined a selection, many restaurants from an online reservation website with the motivational discounts that people usually only find on social buying platforms. For the merchant on the other side, it's all about traffic shaping, because only Eatigo has the capability of sending the traffic to the merchant when they actually want it and when they actually need it. Let me close with a couple of comments on our founding team. It's actually quite a big team. 6 founding members, 3 of which bring a lot of management expertise and some funding capabilities to the table. The other 3 of which are young, hungry internet entrepreneurs with a lot of technical capabilities. You put this together and you get what we believe is a rich blend that is required to take this platform, scale it, and take it, rolling it out, at the very least across Asia, which is our ambition, and which is Eatigo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eatigo.
Thank you.
Please introduce your co-founder for the Q&A.
My co-founder is Siddhant. He is my CFO and co-founder.
I have a question. In terms of when you look at your target restaurants, who are your initial target restaurants here? Is it intercontinental restaurants or is it the hawker center down the street?
The initial target is sit-down restaurants that accept reservations. So it's not just 5-star. What's important more than whether this is 5-star or standalone is that it's popular. It's all built about the underlying elasticities from the user. If I tell the user I have a great offer at a restaurant you don't know, the user will not change his behavior. I need a good restaurant with a good deal to make what I do. And this is how we go about it. And we're not a marketing platform. We don't make a merchant more popular. We help popular merchants to monetize their popularity by filling empty capacities.
Do you see this conflicting? Would there be a conflict of interest when, for example, like Intercon has partnered up with OpenTable, and basically you're offering them a cheaper price on top of the timeline that they're running on? Given the fact that you're going to give discounts based on the lower hours, but you're still giving them a very, very deep discount based on an agreement. Is there a conflict of interest that you need to work out at scale here?
Our contracts with our merchants are category exclusive. That means we do not sign, our merchants are not allowed to work with other providers of time-based discounts, but they are allowed to work with social buying and with normal restaurant reservation platforms, because we believe the services are very complementary. OpenTable sends 80% of their diners in peak hours. We send 80% of our diners in off-peak hours. We guarantee a profitability on every single table. So it's not a mixed calculation. It's mathematical profitable on every single table they turn. And what we do is we take a table that was previously non-profitable because it was empty and producing no contribution to fixed cost, and replace it with a table that has a guaranteed profitability.
So when hello? All right. So when a restaurant signs up for you guys, how do users come to the platform? Like, how's user acquisition done? Do you guys handle that, or do you have the restaurant do it all themselves?
No, actually we handle it, and it's good that we handle it. So we acquire users via Facebook, Google Display Network, AdWords.
What's the cost of acquisition?
But that depends on the market, right? In Bangkok, we pay about 18 baht per acquisition, which is like 60 cents. In Singapore, we pay about $3.
And then when you're saying you're acquiring a user, is that them just signing up for the app, or they actually make a booking all the way through?
Well, the price that I just gave you is for an install, right? And we then, we communicate via in-app notifications to engage the user. We do push notifications. We have email blasts. And so we drive the traffic to the restaurant. That is actually very important, because otherwise the restaurant could just take our yield calendars at one point and say, I know how it's done now, thank you very much, I don't need you anymore.
Okay, so again, what is the cost of acquisition? So to get a user all the way to the point where, to get one booking, how much do you have to pay on Facebook?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, we started out, it was about almost $200 at the beginning, and it came down to about $18 now, and we make as a revenue in Singapore $9 a pop, so we are getting close. We're on the way to break even.
And then how many bookings does the restaurant or the user have to do in order for you to make that money back?
About 6 bookings about.
6 bookings.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any users that have 6 bookings?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
See, for us, the biggest challenge is not stickiness. The biggest challenge is explaining the user how it works, because it's a new product. The initial reaction from the user was like, okay, where do I put the credit card information? Where do I buy the coupon? And we say, there's no coupon. So you mean this is free? Yeah, this is free. So where do I put my credit card information? No, you don't get it. It's free. It's really free. And this is the biggest harm for us. The stickiness, once they make a booking, is actually very good.
So what is
Just to add to it, the top 10 customers that we have who have made bookings up to now in last 6 months in Thailand, the top one is having about 65 bookings, and the 10th one is having about 48 bookings as of now.
This is quite addictive product, because it allows people to trade up. People don't use Eatigo to save money. People use Eatigo to enjoy more. We have done some analysis with the merchants to see, does the average bill take a hit? Average bill does not take a hit. People go to Eatigo, and normally now they would have only a main, and now they have an appetizer as well, and they have a dessert as well. Or instead of having a juice, they have some wine. So the average bill is not impacted, and people trade up. People who normally go to casual dining go to fine dining. People who normally go to value dining go to casual dining. And I can tell you from my own experience myself.
Okay, one second. I think Shinichi has a question he's been waiting on.
Yeah, I was exactly trying to ask you that question. Why do people spend up rather than like people looking for cheap dining go for cheap restaurant where they have to give deeper discount because they don't feel the capacity? So what is your key feature trying to avoid that?
It starts by having popular places. I mean, we don't work with struggling merchants because it doesn't work. They don't draw bookings. We tried at the beginning to go, with just to get the numbers in, and we saw that this doesn't draw bookings. So our working hypothesis here is that people have a certain lunch budget, people have a certain amount that they're spending, and they will spend this money anyhow, but they enjoy more. And all the data that we are crunching at the moment shows us that impact on average bill, especially in the fine dining, is negligible.
So the good restaurants, what are their key problems? I mean, the popular restaurants, they're not really struggling with user acquisition.
Yeah, the key problem is that the restaurant day, especially if you're popular, is a 2-peak day. And you have a situation that is extremely inefficient, because look at Singapore. If you're popular in peak hour, you have a queue. And not everybody waits. Singaporeans are very, cerebral lot, and they are disciplined and they wait, but you're on the lunch clock, and then if the hour is ticking, at one point it's too much and you walk away and you lose profits. On the other side, a bit before lunch hour and a bit after lunch hour, you have massive capacities. This is not efficient. What we tell people is, not everybody needs to move. Just move enough so that your queues disappear and you start moving people, not from 7 p.m. to midnight. Nobody makes that move. People are willing to make a move of anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes past or pre the peak hour, depending on the location, the popularity of the restaurant, and the discount. That's the 3 key impact factors.
So do you have like the really high skew of deeper discount depending on how off you are from the peak time?
Different merchants have different approaches with this. We have a tool, it's the yield calendar generator. The merchant sits in front of the tool, and we take 8 data points. The merchant presses a button and the yield calendar comes out. The merchant has the last word. It's his business. He can change every cell in the yield calendar. And some merchants put every merchant offers 50% discounts every day. We enforce this rule to create a user experience that is very streamlined across the board and allows users to make sure that I never pay full price, there's always a discount, there's no exclusions from the discount, and that actually makes us slower in signing up merchants, but it protects the user experience.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have. Thank you so much. Give a big round of applause. We're going to take a moment to let the judges make some notes. All right, it's time to bring up our third company. Please give a big hand to Nana. Your time starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chen Wen, and I'm from Nana. When we first started this project, what we realized, and this might not come to surprise to many of you, is that parents do very strange things. What we noticed is that parents, on average, were willing to spend about 200 USD on a baby monitoring solution that, if you thought about it, really doesn't tell you very much at all. In fact, the trouble with all these devices is that they fail to answer a very fundamental question. Is my child okay? With baby monitoring solutions in the market today, they fall into three main categories, and they work on three main principles. A, can my baby cry loud enough to be heard? B, am I looking at my video monitor at precisely the right time my child happens to be in trouble? Or C, is my child moving enough? And say you're one of these skeptics who say, hey, you know what? I've heard about one of these really interesting devices that you can strap to your child and tells you the heart rate and the breathing from your iPhone through Bluetooth. Isn't that good enough? But we like to question, is that all really there is to wellness? Sleep is a huge issue for many parents. And the medical community will agree with this, that this concern is valid. Sleep plays a crucial role contributing to a child's brain development, physiological development, and even social development. And despite this immense amount of attention and money being spent on child monitoring solutions, no solution on the market helps to currently address this pressing question. At Nana, what we realized is that if we could come up with a solution that was A, extremely unobtrusive, B, required absolutely no intervention or interaction for parents in order to ensure the well-being of the child, and C, for once, actually understood the child, we would have an amazing product on our hands. This is our sensor mat. It goes underneath patented sensor mat, by the way. It goes underneath any mattress up to 9 inches thick. Picks up movement, breathing, and heart rate. Takes all this data, pushes it through our communicator unit into the cloud. And that's when exciting things really start to happen. All this data gets combined with our deep pattern recognition analytics, which means now we can deliver unparalleled insights about sleep, understand short-term, long-term behaviors, trends, and events, and push these via notifications to his parent's smartphone, no matter where they are. Being a cloud-connected device, of course, means your entire ecosystem of caregivers is now engaged onto a single platform. And the great news about it is, it works. This is what your baby's sleep looks like compressed into a single night. This is one of our early test users, Scale Up. As you can see, the benefit of working with kids is that they're really cute. And the next slide, we actually get to see his data output. Okay, so you see this huge long squiggly line here. As you can see, this gives us, actually you might not be able to interpret it from here, but we actually get extremely good visibility over different segments of sleep the child goes through per night. As promised, we do heart rate and breathing, accurate up to 2 beats per minute, verified in clinical trials. So some of you might be wondering, what do we do with all this data, right? Nana plays an integral role in this upcoming movement of Internet of Things, being the one place, the beginning, that actually understands you, meaning now you can draw much more meaningful responses from the whole ecosystem of devices which are connected. This is our lean and mean go-to-market strategy. We are going to be leveraging on existing e-commerce platforms and reaching out to local influencers because this parenting thing is a local thing. At Nana, we believe in creating devices which help you better engage for and care for your loved ones. So if you're one of these companies who imagine yourselves creating these incredible, new, exciting products with us, please come talk to us. We would love to hear from you. My name is Chen Wen. This is my amazing team. And come buy our product. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's hear from the judges.
Sorry, I think I missed it. When are you going to be shipping?
We will be shipping our product in about 4 months' time.
4 months' time. And
Yes.
are you taking pre-orders ahead of time?
Yes.
Are you taking pre-orders now?
Yes.
How many pre-orders do you have?
We are taking pre-orders now. We just started a couple of days ago, so the emails are still rolling in. I have not counted all of them yet.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But okay, so you have the orders coming in. How are you going to acquire users? Like, how are you letting people know about this?
So earlier on, I think I didn't mention it very much in depth, but we are reaching out through. So your question is about how do we reach out to users?
Yeah, basically you're trying to get pre-orders right now. So
Yes.
like, how are you going to get all these people who have like the hair on fire problem with my kid is like a terrible sleeper?
Yeah.
Get all this stuff.
So being a startup, we just started up a couple months ago. So right now, reaching out through social media, through bloggers, through local influencers, Pinterest, so on and so forth.
And then here's the thing I always worried about analytics companies is that you have all this great data that you're collecting for them, and then what I'm always worried about is like when analytics companies, they don't have like, all right, now what do I do, right? So like you're saying like, I would let you see all the sleep trends and information about how your baby's sleeping.
Yep.
How am I going to change my behavior after looking at that stuff? You guys give me like clear like calls to action. It's like, okay, now that I have this device, now I know how to change my life with it.
Yep.
So what are examples, things that people are able to do once they see their sleep trends with their babies?
Okay, so early on, if you remember the long squiggly line thing, with this chart, you actually can see the various the quantities and the quality of sleep. You get a clear view of your REM sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, so on. Parents can actually compare this automatically because our app is database in the cloud. All this information is compared against parameters and norms for that particular age group. So say, for example, the child has gotten up from his sleep, is a bit cranky, right? You can look back on the data through the app, of course, and get a bit more insight into why that happened. Maybe the child has been woken up during the wrong stage of sleep.
So what can the parents do? Like, what is the action they're going to do now after they see some kind of... Can you give just an example of something that you're thinking identify that help solve a certain sleep problem?
Okay, so for your question, in terms of what actionable things can be done, for example, we can push a notification through the cloud to the phone to say, for example, your child should be sleeping early today because has not getting enough sleep the past couple of weeks. Hopefully that never happens. But in addition to that happening, the cool thing about what Nana can do is because it's cloud connected, now the moment you put your child to sleep in the future, especially with your connected devices, your entire environment understands your child needs to go to sleep and will start working in conjunction with you to help you do that.
It's kind of similar to Kevin's question, but what is the currently perceived problem by the parents?
Okay. So current issues that parents have with the kids, putting the child to sleep. First of all, that's the biggest problem most parents actually face when they talk to us. And we see that as one of the future integrations that we want to do with Internet of Things companies which are now emerging as well. So with Nana as a trigger that actually understands how the child behaves and what state the child is in, we can now elicit appropriate responses from the devices which are connected to that.
But does the sleeping data actually solve that problem? You know,
Yes, because it's not just sleeping data, right? Because it's not just sleeping data because we understand when the child's also awake and what state the child is in before. Okay, say for example, you place the child in the bed and the child's not asleep yet. Nana can then go to try to help you put the child to sleep at a point in time.
Just one asinine comment that I can make is that I think you get the same gist from the judges is that you have a value proposition, like a vectoring issue here, where number one, you're talking about sleep, and then now you're talking about just simple monitoring. Maybe there's a deflection point where you feel here is that you think that monitoring is conducive to the concept of sleep, where everyone keeps on asking, so what's next, right? So it may be a value proposition in issue that you're trying to solve right now.
Okay, so for that question, what we would like to say is that so you have baby monitoring on one hand, and you see sleep as separate from baby monitoring, but we actually see the wellness of a child as a whole, and sleep actually plays a crucial role in that, ensuring the well-being of the child.
I mean, I love the concept. Maybe you did this specifically to enter one part of the market, but I think there's a lot more utility for this for the older age people or the younger group of people.
Absolutely.
I can see this kind of mat being actually injected into all the old people's homes because it enables them to actually monitor at scale. So that would be easy.
Yes, that's one form of feedback we get quite commonly from a lot of people whenever we pitch our product to. So again, Nanav this is our flagship product. This is one of the B2C strategies we have at this point in time. On the B2B side, we're always looking for verticals, other companies in other verticals who also want to understand their customers in deeper ways. For example, elderly care, hospitality care as well, so on and so forth.
All right, thank you very much, judges. Congratulations. Okay, time to keep things moving. We're going to bring up the fourth company. Give a big round of applause for Pepper Chalk. Your time starts now.
Hello everyone, I'm Karthik from Pepper Talk. We are essentially building a backbone for in-app communication. This is basically our elevator pitch. We are a B2B solution for mobile apps, and we help apps do two things very well. One is enable conversations between their users, and then engage their users much better. I'd like this Dilbert to show some interesting things on what is happening in the world today. There are some of us who are Dilberts, there are some, or a lot of you are actually Asoks. It's a mobile-only world, and are the apps really ready for this mobile-only world? This is a sample app, this is a property app, and I want to illustrate the pain that is there in the app ecosystem nowadays. If you look at the last section, the apps have outsourced communication. Essentially, to do anything, to connect with users, the apps are asking you to get out of the app. What does this mean? All your mailboxes, your call logs are cluttered, you have a terrible user experience. And what does it mean for the apps? The apps lose user engagement and monetization opportunities. And this is just scratching the surface. We spoke to a bunch of apps who are exhibiting here, and all of them want something. We've seen a good 40% need good user-to-user communication, and pretty much 100% need good in-app engagement. And there are a bunch of categories that we've actually scoured, and a bunch of use cases for which apps can do much better. So how do they solve this problem? They need to build solid in-app communication. But we also know that it's not an easy problem to solve, especially if that is not your core use case. And this is where we come in. We are Pepper Talk. What we give is an SDK for iOS, Android, and web. It's about 12 lines of code for app developers, about an hour of work, And what they get in return is complete in-app communication, which is scalable, which is customizable, and it's feature-rich. So they can do a lot of things to enable user engagement and user-to-user communication. So what happens? This is how Pepper Talk will transform the app. Well, no more calling, emailing. Just stick a chat button, and you click the chat button, in-app chat screen opens up. You do all the transaction-related communication with an agent, with a seller in the real estate app, and there you have it. You don't have to ever leave the app. What is the market we're looking at? Well, mobile engagement services, according to Forrester, is a multi-billion-dollar market, and we are targeting the core of it, which is communication. And this is how we are hoping to reach the market. We have two customer segments primarily, app developers and product heads. And we're reaching them online, offline, and via partnerships. We launched in March of this year, and in the last couple of months, we're live on 3 apps. We're powering chat for about 300,000 MAUs so far. In the pipeline, we have about a dozen apps that will go live in the next couple of weeks, and 75 app developers have signed up. What are the use cases we have powered so far? You've got a buyer-seller chat. There's an app in Hong Kong which is doing chat around weather. And there's a sports fans chat room around cricket matches in India. Business model is pretty straightforward. It's a subscription model. Apps pay for every monthly active user that chats. Our team, we're all serial entrepreneurs. We've all done startups together with some success. We founded startups in mobile, in real-time communication. I'm Karthik, and my 2 co-founders are here. Well, we are looking for some money to scale, to hire, and to sell more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any comments from the judges?
You said that you charge for monthly active users. How much do you charge exactly?
So we have a tiered pricing model. So up to first 1,000, we are giving it free. And then it goes up. If you have 1 million monthly actives, you pay about $1,000 a month.
And then it's actually pretty impressive that you got people to actually install your app in SDK, considering how relatively new you guys are, like automatically. Are they deployed on production devices right now?
Yes. So one of the apps in India called Magic Bricks, which is a leading property app, they are live on Android with our SDK.
And then how did you get those first users and customers?
So out of the 3, 2 of them found us via SEO. Magic Bricks, we reached out via LinkedIn. We reached out to the head of product. We pitched a value proposition of chat, and that is how.
And no, that's great. It's all inbound, which is like incredible. The next thing is I'm trying to figure out here is your value proposition to them. So what have you told them exactly that you're going to be able to do? It's like, have you actually have numbers and case studies information from those users yet? Like, how long have they been deployed?
So our biggest app went live exactly a month ago. And it's a real estate app, so they're trying to get all their users to upgrade the app and get on board. So what's happened is a significant amount of conversations are staying in the app. So our value proposition is you're going to be able to know.
Are they actually selling more homes or getting more clients? That's like the biggest thing. If it actually works, then it's a moneymaker.
Right. So what we have heard from them is to know, see, a couple of things. What we have in our discussions with potential customers has been, okay, what are they talking about? So if the conversation stays in the app, they know what they're talking about, which properties they're interested in, which location they're interested in, so they can upsell. Whether it is an advertisement that they want to stick into the stream, so be it. But that's fundamentally they're losing that data now to other platforms. So that's the value proposition they are interested in, and this is providing them that.
In terms of competitive difference, I mean, this is the way I see it. It's a pretty red ocean in terms of there's Layer in the U.S.
Yes.
There's Wavecell in Singapore who's doing a lot of volume in this perspective, and there's a lot of other Eastern European competitors who are pushing into Europe very aggressively with this exact model, but it actually has more functionality and capacity. What is your kind of your market strategy? Where do you, is your focus right now purely on India to get that first maneuver advantage geographically?
Not necessarily. So we do know about Layer, of course. A couple of others we have not heard of. Like I said, one of the apps came to us from Hong Kong.
I mean, for example, like Facebook has this function. Like now you can parse out Facebook's application, and actually, they could use Facebook's Graph API plus the text functionality and integrate it into their apps, right? So I just want to know actually how is it different from it?
So the Facebook app or messaging that they introduce is not so much for people who want to own a native in-app communication. It is for people who don't have an app. What we are powering is fundamentally user-to-user communication inside your own app. So in that aspect, it's more a Layer kind of a company which is there. And chat is, by the way, only one of the use cases. We provide a significantly advanced backend platform which enables any real-time communication. So it doesn't, like one of the apps we've spoken to is a car sharing app, a ride sharing app. It's not about text messaging. They want to do a real-time location sharing between people who have signed up to a carpool. So they can take any data and render it any way they want. We'll just be the pipe through which it goes to all the users.
So can you reiterate your core technology, your core competency again? Because it doesn't seem like that.
So the core technology is a real-time communication layer that helps apps connect users in their apps so they can have any type of communication, whether it is chat messaging, whether it is sending location data. But fundamentally, it's a real-time communication layer.
Do you generally, with those three cases, do you connect to the profiles of the users that these app operators own? Do you become part of the identity system as well?
No, actually, we don't get into user management. So the apps do whatever they have to do. They tell us, okay, these are the two apps, these are the two users in the app that we want to connect, and then we take over. The user management is done by the parent app.
I follow up on that. So do you retain history of chats on your server?
No,
do you allow them
no, we don't. What we do is we give a real-time fire hose that the parent app can tap into and do whatever with the data. The only data we retain is till it is delivered to the recipient device.
So it's transient in your case?
Yes, completely.
Okay, that's all the time we have right now.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like to take this time to mention one of the sponsors who's going to be giving a prize at the end of Arena. We're very grateful to PayPal and Braintree. Their startup blueprint will grant one of the startups waived fees up to 18 months for US $50,000 in PayPal transaction fees and the first US $100,000 in Braintree total payment volume. Additionally, they'll provide an assigned account rep for the startup, white glove tech support, and mentoring. That is a pretty sweet deal. So it looks like the judges are ready to hear another one. So let's keep things going and bring up Tagalus. Your time starts now.
Good evening, Singapore. Good evening, judges. Thank you, Tech in Asia. Online and offline retail are very similar. You walk into a store up front, your popular items, new arrivals. You walk in the back, you have men's, women's. But if Dimitri here wants to buy a pair of shoes, he's going to most likely ask that lady. She's going to ask him for his size, what brand, features, color. That's going to help Dimitri find the right pair of shoes, eventually probably buy it. That is nothing but on-site search in an e-commerce store. And there are thousands of online retailers which do not have that ability, and they're leaving money on the table. People who search are looking to buy something. The large guys get it. Walmart, in fact, bought Cosmix to beef up their site search capabilities because site search is going to pump up revenues. In fact, search conversions could be 4 times your browse conversions if it's done right. Tagalus is an enterprise SaaS product which helps you have a great site search capability where we actually build, manage, maintain, and innovate this for you. And why us? This is data from one of our clients who went live. We've actually upped their conversion on the search funnel by 72%. That led to a 122% increase in revenue. So a quick demo from one of our clients who are going live. This is basically their current search capabilities, which has pretty bad results. The same data via a product feed, which comes into Tagless. We automatically tag the products, assign it into the right attributes, which helps you have that conversation of picking the right products in your catalog, no matter how big the search query is. Black dresses, blue dresses, we can still find it for you. We've also gone ahead and started building a recommendation platform based on the mathematical similarity of products. Now here, you as a retailer can customize what is it you want to actually prioritize there. Is it going to be the color, the sales data, the functionality of the product? You get to override a couple of features and prioritize what's important for you. Another feature which we've started launching right now, very popular at Amazon and ASOS, is related searches. These help keep your visitors engaged on your site, but they also bring in organic traffic into your site, which will again help drive revenues. How do we do it? What you saw was basically the demo my client's going through right now, and they get to customize what is it they want to do. They auto-suggest the functionality of search, the filters, the products. Once we get their requirements, we give them an API that's integrated into their product and powers their search bar. So we are bootstrapped. We have not raised a single dollar so far. But the last 1 year, we've been fortunate to work with customers who pay us on time, and we've been growing organically. What we'd like to experiment going forward as we keep building product is to start experimenting on various online and offline channels to acquire more customers at a much faster pace. In terms of revenue, we have two models right now. We actually charge our customers for the setup. We spend time with them to understand the requirements, and that makes Tagless very customizable, and they pay us for it. After that, every month we get paid a monthly flat fee based on the volume of searches that runs through our database. But eventually, like I said, I'd like to build a company where I get charged for the value we add in incremental revenue, and that day will come. The market's great, it's growing, right? So thanks to the growth in mobile commerce right now, a lot of people love searching, which makes it really important. But Tagless can also be applied to browse. Think about it. Men's t-shirts is nothing but a search for men's t-shirts, and we can add the same functionality and intelligence behind Tagless even into your browse capabilities. We have competition out there, but the biggest competition I face today is the CTO. We go in there, we educate them, they get excited, and the CTO wants to build it. And the way we mitigate that is by actually talking about the opportunity cost and asking them to focus on their core competency and leave search to us. My co-founder and I wake up, sleep, breathe, thinking of search and how to make it better, and we want to pass on the benefits to you. This is something we actually built to solve our own pain points. We've been working for 4 years together. Tagless was something we built in a previous startup of ours, which is so awesome. We thought we'll share with the world for a small fee, of course. And that's how we started going to market in May 2014. We are in the market finding a strategic investor because while we make money, I'd like to experiment on various distribution channels to find what's the best way to scale up Tagless while we keep building product. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tagless.
I'd like to also invite my co-founder, CTO, Pauline, on stage for the Q&A. Thank you.
Okay, judges, take it away.
Could you elaborate a little bit on how scalable your model is in terms of service delivery and your revenue model?
By service delivery, you mean is it like a one-click install?
I mean, the way you install it to your customers, if it's too much of a personnel-intensive model, you know, it's kind of...
It is a person-intensive model right now. We're not working on scalability at the moment.
Well, how about the future plans?
So today, future, if we were to compromise certain aspects of Tagless right now, we can make it scalable. But right now, we're focusing on building our product because our customers are helping validate our hypothesis and what features to build up front. And again, how to even build those features right now. So at this point, Palani and I want to build a great product first, and then think about scalability afterwards.
Are you focusing right now, maybe I misheard this, but you're not focusing on a vertical right now? You're looking at it on like not vertical agnostic?
So we are vertical agnostic, but ironically, most of the customers who come into Tagless are in the fashion space. I think fashion is a searchable category. You'd go in there searching for a full sleeve shirt or maybe a floral skater dress, right? But when it comes to maybe electronics, it is more specific. So it's just by chance we are in fashion a lot right now, and home and lifestyle.
I mean, you pointed out correctly that this industry is pretty competitive. You have Swift Type, which is actually Y Common alumni. You have Denote that's coming out of Vancouver. You have Algolia, who was invested by, I think, Storm Ventures. So I think in many ways, you really need to stack up on technology acumen. I just want to understand, have you done a competitive analysis between how you stack up with those competitors as a CTO?
So there are a bunch of competitors, including Algolia, for example, look very impressive. I think what our main differentiator is, we have a base search product that works really well. We get really great search results. Okay, so we're not behind anybody in that respect. We work with the customer in the initial stages. We spend 2 to 4 weeks with them trying to understand what the customers are looking for. They understand their market better than we do. And we work with them in a very detailed way and set it up so that the search results and everything are exactly what their customers would want. And I think that is what differentiates us from like bigger companies that are much more scalable.
So more of a FMS, fully managed service model than that of like a self-service API plug-in and go model, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
So more of an FMS, fully service managed model than that of a plug and play self-service model, right?
Initially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a slide up there and it showed 8 customers and then 4 revenue streams. I don't understand. What's the difference between those two?
So when we started Tagless, site search was the only way we actually made money out of. Now we've started, like I said, recommendations, another way we can actually make money out of it right now with the same engine we have. Related searches, another revenue stream for us right now. And eventually browse will be the 4th stream of revenue for us with the same product.
Okay, and then here's the thing. I think what this space is going to ultimately come down to is who can sell better than everyone else. And so it shows that you were able to close some people significantly. What's your sales pipeline? Like you said, basically, your biggest obstacle is educating CTOs on buy versus build. So what are you saying to them that ultimately convinces them to do that? Like, how are you going to outsell all the competition? Because everyone's going to work on the exact same features.
Fine. So in terms of the, again, it's a functionality of, I guess, which country I'm operating out of right now. In India, people want to build everything for the most part. So that's been my current experience. And most Indian CTOs are influenced by the CEO. So we work about opportunity cost and then convince the CTO that it's actually better to give us the chance to build it right now, because if you're going to build it 5 months from now, you will lose revenue. And 5 months from now, we're going to be far better than we were today. And that's how we actually kind of work with the CTOs today.
Here's the thing, that sounds great, but again, that's the exact same argument every other company is going to sort of make. So I'm just wondering, like, do you have a sales process? Do you have an unfair advantage on sales that you're going to be able to win everyone else out over everyone else?
Not today, actually. So in fact, in the last 1 year, I'm not focused on sales at all. These customers were organic through referrals, the word of mouth. That being said, in the pipeline, I'm working on a partnership with somebody else who has a larger sales pipeline, which I'm tapping into for sure, in the form of an offline partnership with somebody else. But sales has not been something I'm focused on right now. To give you a very educated answer, I've been working on product, and customers came along the way.
I mean, to add upon what Kevin just said, you'll probably have to really focus on vertical you want to specialize on. So for example, if you want to do e-commerce, it's a pretty competitive arena, but if you want to do pharma search, it's a very different arena that you want to look at, and different sensibility of search you want to actually dig into. So as quickly as you can, as you understand your customer base, you will have to look at which vertical you want to make your niche into, and then guard it.
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
And then you probably want to make it into a kind of like a plug and play package so that, you know, it's scalable sales model.
Most certainly.
The customization that you do, how geographically unique is it? Would it work the same way in Thailand and in Indonesia? Have you had any experience with that?
So one is there is a language limitation right now at this point at least. So most of our clients, it works in English for the most part. You want to add to that?
Do you mean the language or specifically something else?
Based on your work with existing customers, do you see that you have to do the same thing in a different geography or a completely different thing, learn from scratch as to how to do what you do in a different geography?
So our geography is right now India and the US. So we don't have we don't know what would change.
Between those two, how different and how different the skill set you need to develop in the team to serve the other market, India to US, US to India?
So as a company, in fact, time to integrate is actually getting better and better because there is very limited differences between the Indian market in terms of expectations. The only difference is with the Indian customers, there is a vernacular element we have to add to our search engine. So we have a very large synonym library out there, for example, right? And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the word saris, but in sari you have Kanjivaram and Kanchipuram, right? So that's like a vernacular element which is very country-specific, language-specific, but as an engine, the features, the functionality, the results they want in the end, it's all the same actually.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome back. It's time for part 2 of the arena competition. Let's just get right into it and welcome up Echoes. Your time starts now.
Hi, no music. Okay, my name's Josh, and I'm a musician, and I've been involved in music tech for a long time. So, in 2013, I was asked to create a geolocated sound walk for Hanoi, which was part of a larger world project linking geolocated sound walks. So, based on the feedback from this, we decided to create our own software for creating geolocated sound maps. So we applied for Danish Embassy funding, which we were successful with, and ran a successful crowdfunding campaign. So I'm going to introduce a video which is one application of our technology. This is a virtual city tour. You'll identify Ding Kim Ngan by its large grey temple-like porch. Cross the porch and you'll enter the courtyard. Enjoy this quiet place, cut off from the animated street. This old house is the communal house of Hang Bak Street. In earlier times, the house was... So, imagine each of the scenarios on this slide. Now imagine that each of these are projects that have come to us and want to use our technology. So we can solve each of the problems on this slide using our technology. So, I present Echoes, which is an easy way to combine geolocation and audio for everyone to experience. And so, our solution is, we have a web app, which is already online, and we already have content producers putting content on the platform. And this is the tool which will enable us to reach a global market. This is our Android app in the top right-hand corner, which is our current functioning prototype. So, we know that we need to curate content in order to develop an ecosystem. And we need to create a number of pilot projects which will demonstrate the technology and allow us to test use cases. So we're going to create a place for people to share and explore content. And through this content, we will develop traction. So, I talked about content. We're going to create a content producer ecosystem. So, we will encourage people to sign up to the platform and partner with existing content producers and partners. And we will create co-working tools and collaborative tools for people to create amazing sound walks together online. So I'm going to talk about one market, which is the tourism market. So last year, 850 million people traveled abroad with a smartphone in their pocket. 38% of leisure travelers and 57% of business travelers use their smartphones to look for local travel information. And so, one outdated solution, which is Lonely Planet Guides, they made 18 million last year in profit. So, to take Singapore as an example, 15 million people traveled here last year. So if 2% of those visitors took 2 $1 tours in Singapore, we would make a profit. So imagine what would happen if we had content all over the world. And to introduce our business model, as I mentioned, our primary market is tourism, so we will monetize this through in-app purchases and advertising. And we will provide a rich experience for companies by providing white label apps and charging for access to our API. And we'll hone our model using metrics. So we're already generating revenue. We're already working with projects in Hanoi. We are working with an ODA-funded public art project, which is due for dissemination later this year. We're working with a restaurant to produce a food tour in Hanoi, and we're creating a treasure hunt app in Hanoi as well. And we're in negotiation with 10 other projects globally, and we will use these projects to test our monetization strategies. So as our content expands, we will expand. And this is our team. Combined, we have experience of creating audio tours, working with audio, and managing high visibility projects. And so we're looking to raise some money to grow us over the next 18 months. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Let's hand it over to the judges.
So, let me think here. Tell me about engagement with the users. So, like, when you get someone to finally download the app and like use it, what does it look like? Like, how sticky is it? Like, what's their feedback when they interact with it? Like, what makes this better than, like, is it better definitively than other existing audio tours, for instance?
You mean existing audio tours in terms of geolocative content?
Doesn't have to be geolocated, but just in comparison to, like, for example, inside of a museum, I'm listening to an audio tour going through that. Like, how does the engagement on your stuff for inside of a city and all this stuff compare to those? Like, is it as effective? Do people like it as much? Are people more likely to repeat the experience? Like, I'm just wondering, like, how sticky is it? Do you, like, users really, really want this?
We have no idea. There's no market data for this.
Are you guys not launched?
No, we're in pre-launch.
What is, so pre-launch means you have people in beta, or?
Yeah, we have a few users using the platform already, so we're getting feedback from content producers, but we have not put this in the marketplace yet.
Those feedback from content producers is just them playing around with the API?
Them playing around with our web app, and we've had a few people use it for individual tours. We created a tour in Hanoi to demo the concept last year, and we got good feedback from it.
How many people tried it?
In 2013, when we used it, about 40 people used it. And then last year we had about 50 people take the tours.
So were you trying to get as many people to try it as possible so you can get as much data? Or what was the purpose of the test after you created the tour?
At that point, we weren't really a startup, so it was just a hobby for us. We were just creating this geolocative audio guide, and we were supported by the Danish embassy. It's only in the last few months or so that we've really decided to pursue a kind of commercialization of the product.
And then what's your plan in terms of acquiring users effectively?
So we will stimulate this content producer network by linking up with individual content producers who will put content onto the platform. And through those content producers, we will rely on them to market the content directly.
So can you be specific? Who are the content producers you're going to start with that you think will be the most effective for spreading?
So we would really like to talk with a number of different content producers, different types of tours. So for example, people from individual tour guides in separate countries. So we're talking with a tour guide in Singapore to create an art tour in South Vietnam. And so this would be one individual creating a tour, and then up to somebody like the Singapore Tourism Board who would create an official tour for Singapore. So it's anybody from an individual user up to a corporation who could create content on our platform.
How big do you think this can get? Like, what's the billion-dollar version of this look like?
The billion-dollar version of audio tours. This is obviously a niche market.
Oh, I don't think so at all. The exciting version of this is like V1 of augmented reality, right? Like everyone
Exactly.
looked at Google Glass and that thing totally tanked, right? But that's because it feels lame. But if I just put headphones on and you have a way, an API for me to augment all geospatial locations, right? That can be done right now by any single company, and you have a way for distribution for it to be interesting. And then whenever there's some device that it's cool enough that people wear, then that can be the next version of that. And the question is, like, can you actually build an API that everyone will build content on top of in order to build the metadata that makes all places interesting?
Yes.
All right.
So building on that, I think the key is to acquire the content producers. What is the key value to them?
The key value for them is that they can monetize their content through our platform. So an individual tour producer could, for example, if they're charging $100 for a tour, they charge $1 on our app, and any user can sign up to our app and download that content. And they can take that tour at a fraction of the cost, but they can take that tour at any time of day, whenever they want. They can go for 5 minutes, or they can go for 4 hours. They can revisit the content, and so they get value-added content. So it's a no-brainer for tour providers.
If that is the case, probably you want to provide a content provider with the marketing support to acquire users.
Yeah, we haven't really got into advertising for users. I mean, I think it would be good for content producers to market their own tours, as well as us providing a backbone support for advertising.
I'm just trying to put this in terms of like what a UX, a user experience would be. When let me ask you a question. When you go on like a trip to Ho Chi Minh City, or when you go into Bali and you go sightseeing, do you put on your earphones? I mean, as a tourist, like the auditory experience is very, very important, right? And to block it out and just rely on the other four or other senses that you have will be somewhat of a deficit of an experience. Like, do you feel that would be an impediment for you to get market acceptance? Because for me, if I'm going there to understand the culture and have a good time, I don't put on my earphones. It's more of it blocks me from the experience of culture and the society there.
To give you an example, I think something that would block you more from doing this is AR, and this is getting massive traction at the moment. So I think this kind of platform, something which is audio-based, you can still experience what's around you. So it's a replacement for the existing audio tours. So you'd be sitting on a bus, going around town, listening to...
So AR as an augmented reality?
Yeah.
So augmented reality for tourism is getting massive traction?
No, AR in general.
No, I'm asking for tourism specifically, right?
No idea.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. So next I want to tell you about another sponsor who's giving a special prize. It is Global Brain, and they are offering 2 plane tickets, full accommodation, and a booth at their December event, the Global Brain Alliance Forum. So Global Brain is a Tokyo-based VC company. They're very well known in Japan, and the Alliance Forum is a chance to meet up to 350 of Japan's top corporations, top startups, and investors all in one go. So hopefully whoever gets that is going to be able to take full advantage of that opportunity. Okay, so let's keep this party going. And now we'd like to bring on our next startup, OnOnPay. Your time starts now.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sifong. I'm coming from Vietnam, and I am founder and CEO of OnOnPay. So quickly about OnOnPay. What is OnOnPay? OnOnPay is simply a top-up solution for prepaid subscriber in Vietnam. So looking at the prepaid mobile market in Vietnam, we have 142 million of SIM cards in the market. And this market generates 570 millions of USD of top-up every month. And people doing top-up by grabbing the scratch card, and the traditional scratch card value chain is very simple. The telco distributes the scratch card to the card vendor, and then afterward, the card vendor resell to the subscriber. This model, by the way, have issues. The subscriber, in order to do the top-up, have to spend at least 6 minutes to do that. Regarding the card vendor, they don't have the loyal customer at all, because people walking down on the street and buy the scratch card and go away. Regarding the telco, they have an issues on the ARPU. The ARPU keep going down years and years. Why? Because people don't get incentivized to top up more. And this is when on-pay kicks in. We already have telco, card vendor, subscriber. We bring in merchants into the market and on-pay. So for the end user, let me show you a demo on how to do the top up with our software, our app, sorry. So this is when you open the app and you have all the information pre-filled. Your phone number, telco, amount of the top up you want to do, and then the method of payment. ATM is the debit card in Vietnam, and I can have all the information. I just have to put top up and get reward now. And by the way, I have to put my own password for the security level. Afterward, very quickly, we are aiming for 10 seconds. The phone is top up and the customer get reward. More credit, coupons, or lucky code. Let's say I choose coupon this time. I can have several choices of coupon. And if I want to go to a coupon, I get it. It's belong to me. And I can show this in the counter, or I have the code to buy online. I can also request the app to do a promotion notification, low balance alert, or geo-pay offers. So that's how easy people do top up and get reward. So what did we do with that? For on-pay, we help the subscriber to have more convenience, having rewards. By the way, vice versa, we take the top-up stream from them. For the card vendor, we provide higher income for them, loyal customer, and then we consider them as an acquisition channel for us. For the telco, we help them to stimulate the top-up, get higher ARPU, and we get the margin from them by selling the airtime. So for the merchant, we generate customer for them, so mean money, and we get the reward for them in order to power this system. Regarding the revenue stream, so this is the ecosystem. We take 6% of all the top-up going through us, for us. We take 2% on the interest earning on the cash deposit of the subscriber and money from the merchant in order to do direct marketing service with us. Regarding traction, we get already engaged with 3 event partners, all of the 5 telco in the country, 15 card vendors already with us, and 30 merchants already engaged. The plan will be launching on mid-June. We already have 400 customers, early adopter, and at the end of this year, we are aiming for 10,000 customers. And that's already our break-even because we have very low burn rate. And regarding the marketing strategy, we will do by doing direct acquisition, referral, and Google AdWords. That's what we do right now. Regarding the team, I myself is a co-founder. I get my CTO, business development, and finance. I have also 2 advisors working in vast environment since year. They are in French and doing conference call with me literally every night. And the whole team are 14. So we are happy to work together to make it happen. So next time when you come to Vietnam, you know how to top up. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Judges?
So do you have a low-tech version of this that works on feature phones? Because I'm guessing that this kind of top-up module will be much more relevant and utility-based for people who are of lower income. And like if you have an iPhone 6, which you just demoed on it, I'm thinking that guy will have a higher chance of having post-pay than that of prepay.
We are building our top-up solution for future phone as well, which is via SMS and USSD command. So what you do is that just go to our website and register an account. Next time, and your payment detail. Next time when you want to do a top-up, you can do it without connection. The only thing you have to do is send an SMS command into our platform, or hit the USSD command on the phone. That's it.
That is an interesting question. Do you actually target the upper side of the market? Because there's plenty of smartphone users who are not postpaid. Or you're focusing at the bottom or the middle? Do you benchmark against free charge in any way in India?
We are targeting into 2.5 million of customers. This is the combination of 3G phones, smartphone, so 3G connection, smartphone, and having a capability to do online transaction and prepaid.
If I may just zoom in a little bit, so do you see yourself as primarily a convenience,
Yep.
primarily a saving, or something else?
Primary convenience, because convenience is a stickiness for us in order to keep the customer in. We can, by example, in the country, every month you have a special day that the operator give a very big chunk of promotion. Then as a customer, as a subscriber, you don't want to miss that at all. And then what we can do is that we ask the customer to pay up in upfront, and then that date we will be doing the top up for them automatically. And in plus, with the huge promotion from the telco, you get additional reward from us. So you always have benefit to do with that.
Just one more additional question. Did you do some analysis on free charge in India?
We know free charge, we know Paytm, and we do a lot of analysis on them. And yes, to be honest, we are quite in the same model. Yeah, but what we have actually is the local understanding of the market. Also, myself and the whole team, as well as my advisor, we have more than 20 years doing VAS for people. I've been deploying successful similar project for Orange UK, for Proximus in Belgium, and also for Watania in Egypt. So I do believe that we can win the market.
How do you envision the future of how people pay for their phone bills? And how do you think that would affect your targeting strategy, both in terms of geography and user segment?
Okay, in the emerging market, we still have postpaid or subscription. But the thing is that, by example, I take my home country as an example. If you are a postpaid, so either you, at the end of the month, either you have to go to the convenience store in order to pay your bill, or you can ask a collector to come at your homes in order to pay the bill, so it's not convenient. Another thing is that as a postpaid customer, you don't have a lot of promotion, unfortunately. So, and also people, by culture, in emerging market, they want flexibility, so they will stick with the prepaid. Sorry. So I know that there is a portion of postpaid customer coming in, but prepaid is still there, and it's massive. In Vietnam, it's 95% of prepaid, and similar situation in Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Myanmar, and Malaysia. So that's our destination for the next step.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So Singapore, tonight is Nightcrawl. Who here is going to come out to Nightcrawl? Okay, guys, we're going to need a bigger part than that. Who here is coming out to Nightcrawl? That's what I'm talking about. We have 3 fantastic locations all around Clarke Quay. The first is Shuffle Bistro Bar. That's sponsored by Sequoia. Then we have Wings Bar. That's sponsored by Braintree. And finally, we have Beer Market. That's sponsored by Elance Odesk, which is now called Upwork, and Murudi. So we hope to see you all there. That part's going to start around 6:30. Or maybe a little bit later, depending on how long the rest of today's conference goes. But something around there. All right, let's keep things going. Let's get closer to Nightcrawl. We want to bring up our next company. It is Roomfiller. Your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Stuart, CEO of Roomfiller, and putting a property on a vacation rental site is easy, but making money from it is the difficult part. Let's meet Pam. Pam is in Thailand. She has a couple of properties and she wants to make money from them. She had a bit of research online and she saw all of these sites. There's so many to choose from. Which ones work? Which ones target Thailand? She's confused. So how do we help Pam? What we do, we take her property, we put it on all of these sites for her. So think of us as a bit of a vacation rental aggregator, giving her the maximum global exposure. This isn't all we do though. We manage the inquiries, we give the guests welcome documents, we provide her protected payments, and we optimize her listing. Her English might not be great, or she might not know what is great about her property. Why should Pam list with us? We make it simple. We tend to find that we have 3 customer types. We have foreigners who come for 2 weeks a year. The rest of the time, it's empty. We have office workers who might have a spare property and they don't have the time to manage it. And we have the wealthy Thai people. And we all know wealthy Thai people like to drink wine and not do a lot. So far, we've generated over 200K in turnover. We've been operating since January 2014. And Thailand is a growing market. It overtook Malaysia as the leading tourist destination in ASEAN. And ASEAN is also growing for when we want to expand. Competitive landscape looks like this. You have the traditional property management businesses. They don't really like to touch rentals because it's too much work and sales gets a commission a lot easier. And then you have Guesty and Pillow Homes, which are predominantly focused on the US. Our turnover breakdown looks like this. We made 82,500 US in 2014. In 2015, we're already at 125K. So we're looking to hit 200 by the end of the year. This is projected at 2.5 times growth. With our current trajectory, 2016 with 2.5 times again and look like 450K. So how do we make the money? We have the traditional commission model, which is what homeowners are used to, right? If you work with an agent, you pay a commission. Why not just carry this on? And then if someone wants an extra service, such as a tour or a transfer, we can take a bit on the top of this as well. So this is the team. We've all been hosts for vacation rentals, and we know what works, and we've got a background in internet startups and internet media. These are our advisors. Lucky to say that I've worked under both of these, and they continue to offer great advice. And we've done all this with just 120 properties. Our outreach has been nothing. We have spent nothing on marketing, and we have 100% customer retention to date. So we were looking for $200,000 to really take the Thai market. I think we've proven now that we have the validation, it works, so now we want to scale and really, really do it. How are we going to do this? Well, customer acquisition is key. If we can add 100 properties per month for the rest of the year, we can 7x where we are now. 7x the properties, 7x the revenue. It really is that simple. Fake it, make it, automate it. That's what we want to do. Thanks for your time. I'm Stuart.
All right, thank you very much. Any comments from the judges?
So, in a crowded space like this, what's tricky is that these guys look at all these marketplaces as just lead generation, right? And so as far as being loyal to any brand, they're not, right? They'll just list on all of them. What do they ultimately care? So are you doing anything to get people to be loyal to you, or do you have exclusive properties that you have that other people don't?
Yeah, so most of the properties we have are exclusive. Like I said, all of our customers are happy with what we're doing. We tend to find that Airbnb, obviously, is a big player, makes up about 60% of the bookings we get. So for the rest of the space, we find it beneficial to list on these multiple different channels because ultimately they are marketing tools, but they work. For example, you've got House Trip, which counters to the French guests, and Wimdu to the German. A Thai person, a normal Thai person would not know to go on these sites.
I guess the key growth driver is property acquisition. How do you do that, both in terms of numbers and quality?
Sure. So customer acquisition is pretty simple at the moment. It's great to be at an event like this because there's a bunch of rich people who like to invest in property. So we've met a few, and generally in the early days, what we've been doing is looking online, doing a bit of research, making a list in the CRM system for potential targets, looking at areas where we know vacation rentals are and they're working, and trying to help those who are really bad at marketing or who don't want to do it themselves.
Thanks.
Cool.
Okay, if there are no further questions, let's keep the show going.
Thank
you very much. So I want to take this time right now to tell you about what's going to happen after we finish the program. So when the judges go backstage to deliberate, we're actually going to play, for the first time ever, something we like to call Quiz Asia. It's going to be a game show. There's going to be lots of prizes and glory for the winners. And joining us for the first time ever playing this game will be Vinny Lauria, the founder of Golden Gate Ventures. Also will be Christine Lauria, the country manager for Singapore for Upwork. Then we're also going to have Ray Chan, founder of 9gag, as well as Casey Lau, the community development manager for SoftLayer in APAC. Now that's 4 people, but we need 6. So 2 of you are going to join us on stage. I hope there's at least 2 people in this room who really want the glory. So keep that in mind. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. Okay, so let's go to the final startup of this competition. Say hello to EasyShip. Your time starts now.
Good afternoon, my name is Tom, and I'm here to present you EasyShip. Our mission is to remove the pain of shipping for all the e-commerce merchants. So we are 3 co-founders with complementary skills in sales, technology, and logistics. We came up with this idea because we work in Rocket Internet for the last 2 years, building e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia, and we had the chance to touch with our own hand the problem of shipping for our merchants. So to better show what's the current situation for companies not shipping with us, let's take an example, Joe. Joe is a small shop online, and every day he has a problem. Why? Because every day, for every item he sells, he needs to spend time in arranging the shipping, and he cannot focus on his own business. You need to choose the right packing material for each order, pay and manage a teams of packers to pack all of the item, and most important, understand what's the best shipping solution for each destination, for each kind of product, and for each dimensions. You know, shipping is complicated. Shipping international is even more complicated. There are more than 200 shipping companies, and Joe doesn't know which one to use in order to make sure that the products arrive. The shipping is economical, and the shipping goes through the custom. And we think that is completely inefficient. And we want to build a solution that allow Joe to outsource the problem of shipping so that he can go back to focus on his business. That's why we created EasyShip. So our dream is to help all the thousands of small and medium shops around the world. Basically, we build an on-demand solution that allow anyone to ship like a pro, just in a matter of clicks. So with EasyShip, Joe can simply open an account, upload his orders in our system. We're gonna pick up the order at his doorstep in a matter of 2 hours, bring to our fulfillment center, pack for him, print all the shipping material, and using our shipping algorithm to select the cheapest and most reliable shipping company within FedEx, DHL, TNT, and many others to ship each of the order based on destination, kind of product, and dimensions. So, moreover, we have very good shipping rates based on our volume with the shipping company. Just to give you an example, in Hong Kong, if they want to ship a mobile to Singapore, our clients were before paying around $12 US. With us, they're paying $8.5 US. So with EasyShip, they not only save time, they save money. Our solution works. We start EasyShip in Hong Kong in January, and in less than 100 days, we built a functional technology platform. We acquire more than 20 customers using our platform on a daily basis, and we ship over 1,500 orders, generating $20,000 in revenue. EasyShip is live, is very easy to use, and our customers use it on a daily basis. Looking in terms of economics, we have three main sources of revenue. First, we have a pickup fee. Second, we have a packing fee. And third, we have a shipping fee. We're now building volumes to then integrate other services, such as the cloud shipping, that will allow anyone in the world to ship with our technology, regardless or not whether they are in our pickup area. Big data to analyze the performance of shipping company, and affiliated marketing to help brands target their customer. The market is huge. Looking at the latest Asia Index report, there are over 10,000 companies in Hong Kong just shipping on eBay. If you consider also Amazon and Alibaba, we're talking of a market of $5 billion per year just in shipping rates. We target to acquire this for full channel, our own network, a sales team, e-commerce platforms, partnership with e-commerce such as eBay and Amazon, for which we already built an API, and online marketing. Looking at the competition, traditional players offer like warehousing and stock management, but e-commerce is moving very dynamic to on-demand solution, and we are the only one offering on-demand logistic, integration with e-commerce platform, and cross-border logistic intelligence. We're now looking to raise $1 million in order to scale up the operation in Hong Kong, invest in technology, building our team, and expand internationally. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Now, judges, your final comments.
I would like to invite also Ruben, my co-founder, for a Q&A.
Everything sounds pretty good. What are you worried about right now?
Well, I think that what we're working on now is to build scale to lower our pickup cost, because as you can imagine, like sending a minivan to collect the items, we rely on Uber and GoGoVan and this marketplace. And the idea is if I need to send one van for one pickup, I can basically, it's quite expensive, so the need is to scale up fast in order to do multiple pickup in the same area and to lower the pickup cost.
Do you know what that number is? Like how much volume you need to get to ultimately say like, okay, now we can make this work in terms of the numbers?
Well, I mean, we're already break even in terms because our margin on shipping range between 10 to 40%. The point is that we need investment to scale up much faster. But in terms of break even, we're already there.
Just to add on, like how Tom said, if you're asking us what we're worried about, we're not worried about anything. It's just we believe in growing and growing fast and conquering Hong Kong as soon as possible. We want to come to Singapore end of this year and then open up 2 more markets by next year.
Adding on to that, how much additional shipping cost does the merchant have to bear? And would that have some kind of limitations on what kind of merchant would be your target customers?
The idea is that easy shipping is will actually lower the cost of shipping, because since we consolidate all the shipment, we will have very good shipping rates with the company. One. Second, because we compare the different shipping company and we make sure to select always the cheapest and most reliable.
Are you already there in terms of being able to kind of lower the total cost?
Well, we are there for some destination. Of course, we still don't have the best solution to ship worldwide. I'm pretty confident to say we are among the cheapest for China, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Australia.
Great, thanks.
So we wanted to focus on Southeast Asia first and Asia, because we've been working here for 2.5 years, and it's something we already did before, and we already have the contacts with the shipper. The idea then is to spend to also become very competitive for the United States, Europe, and Latin America.
How did you get the first businesses onto your platform? Like, did you start with eBay resellers, or what did you do?
We started with Lazada resellers. Lazada is the Amazon for Southeast Asia. It's also present here in Singapore. We all worked there for 2.5 years, and I was building the cross-border operation and sales in Hong Kong. So these were my clients. So the idea is that we kind of set up the kind of private beta. We started in January, so Ruben and his team was coding their platform. We started the first shipment end of January. And for the first 4 months, we just wanted to have 20 clients from different segments. So we have brand owners, large, small, medium, and small size sellers to see their feedback.
One thing I'm interested in is like, is this basically only going to be something that's going to work for like small, medium businesses, right? Like at some point, someone is going to just graduate from your services. I don't think that's a bad thing, but like, does this ever get to the point where like large companies like rely on you guys to handle fulfillment, for instance?
What I see is that, I mean, talking with my clients, that everyone wants to get out of this shipping. Is not their business. They want to make money on buying and selling. And they don't have time to look into this. They don't have time to compare over 240 shipping companies, what's to use, what's not to use. They don't want to open 200 shipping account and pay 200 deposit, and they want to negotiate the rates. They want to source this. Out of our 20 clients, actually we have 3 power sellers of eBay. They sell over 800 orders every day. And they're using us, as I said before, for like some destination where we are very competitive. So China, Singapore, Australia, mainly. So if they work with us now, the terms that we can negotiate it can only improve with the time. So our target is actually to make them outsource to us all the shipments they have.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of Arena. Everyone give one more big round of applause for all the startups who pitched today. So coming up next, before the judges disappear behind the curtain, we're going to have a brief chance to talk with them about their thoughts, and we're going to have a little mini discussion. I'm going to be leading it, actually. In case you're wondering where this disembodied voice is coming from, it's over right here, to the right of the judges, moving into position. Hello, everyone. And let's just get my notes already. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for participating in Arena. We really appreciate it. And obviously, for this time, we capped it at $100,000. So that means that we were dealing with some very, very young companies. But even so, I'm wondering if you could share just some of your general impressions of the firms. What were some of the things that they were doing right? What were some of the things that maybe a rookie mistake? Could we start with you, Dimitri?
Sure thing. Quite like the stories generally that build on the uniqueness of local markets, especially if those uniqueness are similar across multiple ones. So we'll carry on with discussion which companies exactly I refer to slightly later. But I like how this is starting, how this event generally evolves to feature more and more companies that are not copy-pasting, that are building the business model from scratch based on the landscape of each given local market, whichever market that may be, Thailand or India.
Seaman, what about you?
What this guy said. No, just kidding.
Okay, so Shinichi. No, Seaman, what about you?
No, I mean I really signal and echo the remarks that Dimitri made. A lot of the companies, I think, I've been with Tech in Asia with this event. I think since the very start, when you started out in a Christian church, where they didn't let you move the drum set. But anyway, so that's an inside joke for all the Tech in Asia people. But I think a lot of the startups are becoming much more tech focused, and you can see a lot of the startups that are coming up are just not the service based orientations. You see a lot more SaaS based development companies. So overall, a very good thing to see.
Thank you. What about you, Shinichi?
Again, I think some of the companies targeted the local unique problems and came up with the unique models, versus some of the companies came up with targeting the very universal global problem. And it made me think that which kind of problem to tackle would be more attractive. So I think that's kind of like the key question each startup would face, which is more attractive, global opportunity or local optimized opportunity. And another thing was that some of the earlier stage companies in really early stage seed phase, a lot of them came up with a very initial product, but I think the initial hypotheses were kind of really targeted to the specific needs of specific users. But if you could reframe some of the problems and make it more universal, I thought there were some more bigger opportunities to be addressed.
I see. Would you care to add anything, Kevin?
I think everyone had great presence on stage, so it was good to see. So everyone felt, for the most part, looked comfortable on there. I know how hard it is to go up there and pitch, and like 5 minutes is actually double the time that we give our startups at our demo day. And I think the stuff that like I always worry about when I watch people pitch is like, right away, do you clearly explain just like what you sort of do? And so the instinct for I think I see a lot of founders have is they go up there and they pitch and they say they're so eager to talk about the reason why they did the startup. So they'll lead with why. They'll say, let me tell you about the problem. Let me show you how it's not working and all this other stuff. And it just adds to this confusion, especially when it's a line of like 9 startups or a whole range of them that you're going to see constantly. And so I'd always start like right away with like, do I clearly just say as my first sentence, as my first slide, just exactly what I do? Like there's a couple startups, I'm like 1 to 2 minutes in and I still don't exactly know what they do. Outside of that, I think everyone starting local, like I'm not bothered by that, but what I would have loved is like being inspired by why either one, being in Asia first is like a whole lot better market than anywhere else to be. For example, that last Easy Ship one, like it might be a compelling reason that we have a lot of competitors, but Asia is a much better fit for where this should start than the US ever will be because of the volume and the stuff that the people are going to do there. And then if we solve this, not just for both local, but like international, like we can do some things that move us a lot faster than anyone else can. And I didn't hear enough of also like everyone saying like, this is what we do, this is how the opportunity is going to be, or what this is going to be. But what I always want to hear is like how this is going to be something like that is just huge and massive. And so there's this kind of monotone tone for right now. It's just like I'm just trying to get through saying like this is what I do instead of like this is why you're going to miss out on something super huge. The secret I discovered, right? And only I sort of know it. I know how to execute on it. And so like if you're interested, come and talk to me or ask me a question. But otherwise, like I'm destroying like everyone else in this no matter what. And I didn't feel enough of that from every pitch. But overall, I thought like the quality is really great. I've done a lot of these competitions and like I was very impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, what you said harkens back to something I think one of the investors said yesterday about the need to pitch your company to your investor and make them believe in it quite as much as you do. So my next question is a little bit more technical. I'm curious to know what you guys think about the problems that these startups are trying to tackle. Which startup or which startups do you think we're tackling just the really tough problems? Can we start with you, Shinichi?
The tough one, I think the last Easy Ship, I think was tackling the kind of really, really long time pain for the e-commerce companies.
Okay. What about you, Simon?
For me, it was the payment stuff with OnPay hit really home because one of our portfolio companies, Quota Payments, is actually starting to solve that issue through carrier billing in Indonesia. So I think the founder obviously knew what he was doing, and I think there's a lot of benefit not only for the business but for the society that they can create with a successful top-up business.
Dimitri?
Well, so I can see 3 types of complexity that companies take on. Some take on technological complexity, some on market complexity, and some on actually fundraising complexity, because some of these models will take a lot of money to implement. So as long as the right team faces the right challenge, the team that most likes fundraising actually takes on the business that needs capital most.
Okay. Anything to add, Kevin?
You know, the one that excited me in terms of like the problem that I don't think they like touched upon, or like how interesting the problem that they're solving is Edigo. They're saying like, oh, we help basically solve this problem of like when we're not on peak hours, we can drive demand. We can drive demand wherever you want to have it, and we created a model to do that. And that's not just like valuable to like restaurants. That's valuable in like every industry. Everyone has lulls and seasonality and stuff that they would love to figure out like, how do I solve this? And they might actually have a model that could work everywhere. And so in that regards, like that's tough. Like every company faces and works on that. And if they actually have a solution that can make that happen, there's a lot of promise out there in regards to like basically making markets truly efficient.
Okay, I understand. So the next question is a little bit tougher, and we want to keep in mind that, again, these are very young companies, and basically I want to ask is, which company were you not quite convinced about? And I don't mean to say like you need to, there should be no bashing or anything, but just so that we can all learn, like how can we, as young founders, how can we convince you guys a little bit more? What are maybe some things that you saw today that ended up being a red flag for you? If you wouldn't mind, could we start with you this time, Kevin? We can jump over to Simon.
Yeah, let me look.
Simon, would you care to answer first?
I think all the startups are interesting, but I think the really ambiguous mark that was left for me was Echo. In the middle, I just thought the founder just gave up answering the questions. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So, yeah.
So the one obviously I think it came up during questioning is Nano, right? So again, very clear, like where we want to be is basically stating like this is what our product does, but it doesn't show like this is how it's going to change people's lives. Like what is the solution it ultimately sort of solves? It says like this is a starting point for it, but like most analytics companies, like all it does is leaves people a bunch of questions. So it's like, okay, now what do I do next, right? And so that's the problem with all these other like even e-commerce analytics stuff. They're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Now I just know that I don't know anything. And so in that regards, it's just like, hey, I prepared you to do a lot more work. And so as a result, like how is that going to result in people wanting to tell someone else about it? It's like, hey, I bought this mat. It helps me solve sleep. And it's like, how did it solve sleep? And it's like, I know I have a sleep problem. And it's like, cool. And then you don't know what else to do from there. So it has to definitively ask a question on there. I think he knows ultimately like we're collecting all this, we'll figure all that stuff out, and maybe they will find like what those keys calls to action are, but it was very clear like he didn't have those answers right now. And so
Okay, I understand. What about you, Shinichi?
Not to say that they don't have any value or anything, but SDKs and tools like PaperTalk and Tag Analysis, if they just are regarded as cost-saving tools or kind of convenience tools for the developers, it's pretty difficult for them to get a big slice from the developers. So I think, yes, they create value. So I think they need to package it in a better way so that the developers can actually be helped driving their value. So I think then after that they can think about more scalable and more profitable business model.
I see. Any final thoughts, Dimitri?
Well, I think to a different extent, everybody on this panel picks up on one thing: lack of persuasion. Regardless whether there is substance or there is no substance or there is personal style idiosyncrasies, if one perceives in every which way lack of persuasion in the pitcher, that's the one company that elicits least faith.
That's a really good point, and that segues into the last question I want to ask, which is just in general, if you can give one or two tips for pitching persuasively, what would they be? Can we start with you since you brought it up?
I tend to be very data-driven, so a barrage of numbers that are actually credible and click with each other is a good sign for me, but that's just one of many.
Mm-hmm. Let's just go down the line. What about you, Simon?
I mean, for me, before you pitch, ideally, it's not in this arena environment, right? When you pitch to a VC, understand what the VC is interested in. So basically, do research on who you're going to pitch to. And if that VC is not right for you, don't pitch to him. Okay? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that
with us here.
if you're an ad tech startup, go to Rich Wong from Excel Partners because he'll understand what the hell you're talking about in slide 1, right? If you go to any e-commerce, like if you go to Sammer Brothers and say I'm gonna do the next generation yield optimization platform, he'll kick you out the door, right? So just find the VC that's right for you, then start from and be genuine about pitching, about your passion.
Okay, good advice. Anything to add, Shinichi?
I think it's a good mix of two things: long-term kind of big potential, plus the realistic bottom-up kind of situation right now. The long-term vision is quite obvious. How big, how scalable you are in the end. We are probably not looking for the how profitable you are right now, but we're looking for how profitable you will be in 5 years down the road. But we want to see how realistic is that vision is by looking at your status quo. How does your product solve the problem? How does it actually
is accepted by your current users, and how is it represented by the actual numbers. So good mix of big potential and and also the feasibility of becoming that big.
Got it. And Kevin, do you care to take the last word?
When I help people design their like demo day pitches and stuff, the way I always think about it is I start very clearly like, what is it you're doing? How do we clearly state that as our first thing that you're going to say? And then the next things are really basically following, like, once I hear that, what is in an investor's mind going to be the most skeptical thing they're going to think of next? And then I immediately want you to just address it right away, right? And so that way you're basically building up this argument that basically answers all these things people are going to be skeptical about. The only variation of that presentation that I will ever do is if you have something amazing that you want to show in terms of numbers and stuff. And then that's going to be the second thing I ever want you to do, because I want people to remember that, right? And so a lot of times we saw a lot of numbers that showed up on the stage, but I can barely remember one single number that really stuck out at me. So if you have some kind of amazing number, like, make sure you hit on that and explain why this is sort of significant and really big, and like have that be the only thing that's showing on there. It's like, if that's the only thing I'm going to remember, is that like this traction that's sort of happening, this sales that we have, or like we have this ability to do that's bigger and better than anything else. And so that way I walk away with like some sense of like, something big is happening here. This founder seems totally like competent, and then at least I have a sense of like, I think there's a little bit of inevitability to whatever it is that they're doing, and therefore like I'm either going to get on this train or I'm going to miss it. And so if you give that sense of like FOMO, then like you have a chance of me actually following up with a conversation.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so generate a fear of missing out, and you might have a shot. So want to say thank you once again to all of our judges. Big round of applause for them. So they're going to go out backstage right now, and we're going to play Quiz Asia. All right, it's now time to make the official announcement. So first, can I ask all 9 startups to come up on stage? Round of applause, everybody. Six, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have everyone. So first we'd like to announce the Global Brain Award. As I said before, Global Brain Award is going to give travel, accommodation, and booth to one startup to their Global Brain Alliance Forum, likely happening in December. To present the award, could we please ask the founder and CEO of Global Brain, Yasuhiko Yorimoto, to come to the stage. Please say a few words.
Thank you very much, everyone. We are very honored to be a sponsor of Tech in Asia 2015, and very, very excited to be with you all. We have already decided the winner of Global Brain Award. The winner will be invited to the Global Brain Alliance Forum held in December in Tokyo. The winner will be able to make a presentation to more than 100 big Japanese corporations, and also have a face-to-face meeting with 2 or 3 big Japanese corporations the winner selected. GB also covers flight and accommodation costs. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Yorimoto-san. And now the winner is Ichigo! Thank you very much, Yorimoto-san. Okay, and next up we're going to announce our PayPal Braintree Award. As I said before, this is going to be up to 18 months of $50,000 worth of PayPal transaction fees, and the first $100,000 worth of Braintree total payment volume. They'll also get a personal account rep, white glove tech support, and mentoring. To present this award will be Corrado Tomasoni, the Global Director of Startups, Accelerators, and VCs at PayPal Braintree. Please come on up.
Thank you, everyone. So we are really pleased to be here to support Startup in Asia initiatives, and it has been very hard. I mean, congratulations to everyone, because I listened to very, very interesting pitches. I think that for the effectiveness, the scalability, the interesting model, the PayPal and Enterprise goes to EasyShip.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Sure Rock says, can you feel it? Sure Rock says, can you feel it? Sure Rock says.
Thank you very much. All right, and now it's time to find the winners as ranked by our judges. So we're going to do third place, second place, first place. Give everyone a big round of applause. So first, in third place, is OnOnPay. Take a step forward. Congratulations. All right, and now moving on into second place. Take a step back, please. Second place is Edigo. Congratulations. And now, to present the first place prize, I'd like to welcome the VP of Tech in Asia, Andrew Wong, to the stage.
From Jamaica to the world.
Andrew, would you like to say a couple words?
I'm so sad. No one thinks I'm cute. I think it's great. Like we have like 9 really good startups that pitched today, and well done, guys. Give them a round of applause, please.
Okay, so the moment is here. Congratulations, $15,000 and a very nice trophy to EasyShip.
Because we can! Yes, we can!
Yeah, get the co-founder up here. Big hug. Congratulations, congratulations. So we want to say, once again, thank you so much for participating in our pitch event. We know how hard it is to build up your company. We can't thank you enough for choosing to join us here today. One more big round of applause for these amazing startups. You guys can go on. Just to close out Tech in Asia Singapore 2015, I want to say thank you once again to all of our amazing sponsors. I want to thank you, all the people in the audience, all the judges, everyone who's come. I think we had over 2,500 people these past couple of days. As you all know, the startup ecosystem in Asia has really been growing over the past few years. We ourselves are still a startup. We might have some flashing lights and some fun music, but at the end of the day, we're going to go back to work tomorrow. We're going to produce stories. We're going to keep working on TechList. And we're going to keep planning for the next conference in Tokyo, September 8, 9. And that's what the story is. It's just incremental improvement one day at a time and trying to get better together. So thank you all for joining us on this journey. We'll see you at Nightcrawl tonight. Thank you.